Well, hello everybody out there, my fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. I'm Greg, and with me today is writer, director, actor, musician, whatever else do you do, Richard Gabai. How you doing, Richard?
Good. How are you, man? Good to see you, Greg.
It's good. It's glad to have you back on the channel again. I'm been looking forward to talking to you again because you're pretty cool, and I really enjoy your movies. So,
thank God somebody does.
I do. I mean, I grew up on them. I mean, which we'll get into because your Assault of the Party Nerds Part 1 and Part 2 just released on a brand new Blu-ray from Culture Shock. I know this has been a long time in the making. And I grew up on movies like this, with the Up All Night and everything, which this connects a lot to Up All Night. But let's tell us a little bit about how this Blu-ray came to be.
Okay, so it first came to be by shooting a movie I had no idea people would be talking about 35 years later in the summer of 1988, over 5 days on film, 4 days with sound and 1 day without sound. So it came to be, over 35 years ago. What am I talking about? 88, 37 years ago. So it started then, and I'm amazed and grateful that there's it's still here now. And you grew up on those movies, and I grew up on it also because I had been in a couple of movies, and I'd kind of decided I could make my own movie, and I sat with my typewriter and my friend Michael Becker and wrote Assault of the Party Nerds over a weekend. So that's where it started, and then through innumerable blessings. I mean, the movie came out on video at first. What was it? Prism Home Video, and then and was a big hit. And then it was on the USA Network on Up All Night with my good friend Rhonda Shear and the late great Gilbert Gottfried.
Yep.
And then, the amazing thing about this movie is, I mean, a few years after I made it, it was on TBS on New Year's Eve, and like in those days there was 5 cable channels, and one of them was TBS, and like New Year's Eve, Assault of the Party Nerds. I was like, whoa. Obviously the edited version, not the magnificently restored version of the original film that's on these Blu-rays. So
looks good.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I did the transfer from the original negative several years ago, just knowing that things are going to deteriorate, and hoping that, who knows, maybe one day there'll be interest. And Daniel Del Pozo, who really orchestrated putting this together, he had approached me a few times, and I was like, well, I don't know. It's been out in a few different iterations already, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. Well, anyway, it turns out it isn't a dead horse because it's selling really well. Thank you.
Yep.
Also, we made it really special. I wanted it to be better on the audio and video side, which it is. And even, Assault of the Party Nerds 2 was shot on film, but it was finished digitally. So there was never a cut negative. So there was no way to go back to the original negative. However, a really great restoration was done on it, and it looks fantastic.
It does. It looks really good
on the Blu-ray. And then we added, every extra that we had made for the other releases, and then we added more extras. And I did a fresh commentary with my dear friend Michelle Bauer for both movies, and that was a riot. Obviously, she stars in both movies with me. And then the triple added bonus is the music CD.
Yes.
The original recordings from the Czechs, my band that goes all the way back to high school. And thanks for showing. I haven't received mine yet. So yeah, let me show you what this looks. Show me what this looks like.
Yeah, you got the.
Great, man.
Yeah, right there.
So cool. All right.
Yeah, and then you got the
original art on the cover.
Yeah.
Of that, and
I'm so excited, man. I was so happy to get this.
Awesome. And so we, when we were playing nightclubs in the 80s and mostly in the 90s, actually, we had cassettes of our recordings. And then every time I got a movie, I would carve out a little money to go in the studio. So when we made Assault of the Party Nerds, we went in and recorded a bunch of the songs that are the soundtrack. And then in between Assault of the Party Nerds and Assault of the Party Nerds 2, I had made Virgin High and Hot Under the Collar for for 21st Century Films and HBO.
Yeah.
I went in the studio and we recorded new songs that were on those in those movies. And I've always gotten, I'm blessed. Fans who really are my friends and my customers, because I'm so grateful. I've always asked, I want those songs. I want those songs. And thankfully, I've been busy for most of my career, so I never released them. I never got it. So now there's this CD in the set that is all of the original Chex recordings, which are great in their own way. I love those recordings. And I'm going to finally, now that I have it all together, I'll do a digital release of the original Chex recordings sometime this year.
Oh, awesome.
To have them on CD is very,
yeah.
As you know, the expert of physical media, having this is cool.
It is. I was very excited to learn that the CD, because the music is great. Your music is great. It's got this like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like old school rock and roll, but it's like, it's just like the themes, the Assault of the Party Nerd song that they play in the beginning has been like stuck in my head ever since I've been listening to it. It's incredible because you have this like cool vibe about you. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt or anything, but you have this like cool vibe about you, and like with the way your movies are, like with the Assault of the Party Nerds and Virgin High and Hot Out in Their Collar, which I also have. There's just like something like that you exude in these movies that's like this cool factor, even though you guys are supposed to be the nerds, the outcasts, but there's just something cool about that. So,
well, thank you. And I appreciate the smoke, because I've spent my life in the most difficult business in the world. And we get bashed so often. And it's remarkable to me because, I made these movies, whatever we did the math, like 30, Party Nerds 1 was 37 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it's a famous story I've told before, but, Quentin Tarantino singled me out in a bar and went through my resume and knew all my movies and told me how much he loved my movies. And even now through, people like you and also the real, we were kind of bashed for making those movies in the day.
Right.
And now people get it. Yeah. So I'm glad I'm still around. I'm very grateful that I could, basically still fit into the wardrobe if we had to do another one. And
it'd be cool. It'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about it, and if there's a market, we'll figure it out. When there was the 3D craze, I made the first independent. So I, thank God, had a very blessed career outside of these first teen comedies. And, even though I made a movie for Lifetime that was one of their highest rated, it was at the time their highest rated film of all time, The Wrong Woman, with Danica McKellar and John Bennett and all these, big actors, that has, 20 million views on streaming and all this stuff. Yeah. But these are the movies people want to talk about, so yeah. I'm stoked. I feel like I've got a second lease on all the stuff that was really the most fun and a really fun part of my career.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us, like myself, who grew up with these movies, it really resonated with us. And now we're in a day and age where like, we're the adults now. And, so like it's to see them come back and like, with all the stuff we get today, it's better to take a trip back in the past with these movies because they seem to be better movies than we're getting today. And it's just, I don't know, it's just like this fun trip. And, I was watching these movies, and you like when you're driving through LA, is it in the movie LA? And like you could see how cool it was back in the day. And you think about LA today, and it's kind of like none of that stuff's there anymore, is it?
It isn't, and funny that you should say that, because I'm blessed to have a second home in the Miami area now. I'm basically in Miami now. And so I split my time. We split our time between LA and Miami because, Los Angeles, I say it's like LA's like the hot girlfriend that keeps cheating on me. It's like, you go there, it's great, it's beautiful. And then, it's got a horrible case of mismanagement. Mm-hmm. And then also, you have to accept that time marches on. And, I just this week, one of my favorite places, because I made Assault of the Party Nerds at USC where I graduated. And I basically made it the year after I graduated, and driving down the fraternity row and all that, that's where I hung out. And it was filmed in my fraternity house. Alpha cool. Yeah, it was, and then the front of the house was the jock fraternity. I used the back of the house for the party nerd fraternity, and that's what my life was like. And so, I do miss that Los Angeles. And
Right.
I say there's this restaurant called The Pantry in downtown LA that like for almost 100 years was open 24/7. And it was like a great place for breakfast or late night food. And then the pandemic came, and then now they reopened like 4 or 5 days a week from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and now they just closed.
Mhm.
And so many of the places I went to and enjoyed that. I'm blessed to have enjoyed Hollywood really when it was just great.
Yeah.
I lived in Hollywood, and I went to I played all the nightclubs that were there, and most of them are gone. And I love most of my favorite restaurants are gone now. Literally, they just closed another one, but the only one that's still there is Musso and Frank's. So when I go back to LA next week, I'm planning on checking in at Musso and Frank's. But it is, and I wonder. I'd like to ask, some of the kids that are, if I was like, how old was I? If I was like 23 when I made Assault of the Party Nerds, like 23-year-olds that living in Hollywood now, do they think it's the greatest place ever?
Yeah.
It might, to them, it might be. It's just not party nerd land anymore. If you know.
Yeah, it's not because it's like everybody thinks about California, and then you think of when you see yourself in both movies driving down the street and all the buildings and the restaurants and even like when you're sitting outside the Hollywood sign and you guys are eating subs, just like it seems like the way you see it on the news today or whatever, it just seems like a completely different place. But you can remember how cool Hollywood and LA used to be.
It was, yes. We did a lot of that stuff in Party Nerds 2 was that scene of that park.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, that park is still there and it is still beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's just not the same feeling, Right. So I have hope, I have hope. I'm not selling my house in Los Angeles, and I'm not abandoning it. I think I heard a hilarious quote from Billy Joel a few months ago. Because I guess he still has a place in Manhattan or something in New York, but he had a big house in Long Island that he's selling it. And he's like, no, I'm not leaving New York. But like a lot of Jews, as we get older, we spend more time in Miami. And it just cracked me up because in Miami and it's not at all it's not the stereotype of like a retirement place at all. I mean, I'm healthier and more active here than when I'm in LA, but it's just, this is kind of an antidote. So now when I go back to LA, I'm excited about it and it's great. And then I kind of recharge, go back and forth. Yeah, it's like you said. It's still got all that stuff. It's just different. Beverly Hills, it's all different.
Yeah, it's that girl you can't quit. You just keep going back to her for whatever reason.
Every time she cheats on you, she's just so hot,
Yeah, you just can't. You can't. That one reminds me from a quote. It was the Wild Thing with Sam Kinison. I saw the video Wild Thing with Sam Kinison, and he talked about how you make me sick, but I can't quit you.
Right. Exactly. I mean, exactly. Yeah. And also I have so having, I'm blessed now. I've been married for 25 years to the greatest girl in the world, but I didn't get married till I was, 35. So yeah. I dated enough girls in Hollywood to know what LA is doing to me right now.
It's calling you, but you can't.
I know there's probably plenty that might say the same thing about me, and to any of, I apologize. I didn't mean anything bad.
We do have a $4.99 super chat here from Neo Pulps. She says, Richard Rolls, any stories on Linnea will be greatly appreciated.
All right. Stories on Linnea. Well, yes. So I met Linnea. So one of the, what I would say, a main inspiration to think that I could make my own movie is, so I got out of college. I instantly booked a national beer commercial for Old Milwaukee beer. And I was pretty much sitting on my couch eating grapes and pretzels, because I had money coming in. It was unbelievable. In those days, you really made good money on commercials. And I couldn't believe it. But I was like, I got to do something. And I'm sitting there. Then I booked this little feature it's shot in Pennsylvania I can't remember the name of that town. Anyway, and I met a bunch of key players. I met Rob Dorfman, who would end up being in Party Nerds. I met Michael Becker, who became my basic producing partner for several years and assistant director. And I met Richard Rifkin, who played Walla in the Party Nerds movies. I met all these people. And then I got back to LA and I booked this movie directed by Dave Dakota called Nightmare Sisters. And I met Dave, and he had me read, and he said, okay, well, we shoot next week, and 20 pages of dialogue on your first day. Your work's cut out for you. Like, don't screw up a word. We can't afford any time. And I was very much, and I still am, a very, very serious actor. I'm an actor. I studied, and I'm an actor. And I at the time, I was extremely young. And I just thought it was like a thriller, Nightmare Sisters. Like, I didn't know what was up. And so we go to shoot Nightmare Sisters, and on the first day, and Linnea and Michelle are in these. I don't know if you know the movie, but
yeah, I have the
they
just like this with the special cover and everything.
Yeah, they're in those like blown up outfits, like they're really fat and really huge, and I do this 20 pages of dialogue, and Linnea is just, you know, eloquent, intelligent, sweet, talented, like, you know, actress. Like, and I didn't know that anything about her career or anything. Just, I'm going to work, and I'm an actor, and I'm going to know all my lines, and I'm going to not look at the lens, and, you know, so we do the 21 pages, and like Dave Dakota, who was kind of a mentor, a great guy, kind of slapped me on the back. He's like, great job today. Great job. See you tomorrow. And my call the next day was like at 11 a.m., not at the beginning of the day. And I walk into the set, and there's Michelle Bauer, Brink Stevens, and Linnea Quigley, like oiled down and like completely naked by the orb, like when they get transformed.
Right.
And I looked at them, and I was just like, wait, this it wasn't in the script. There was none of that. There's like, in the script, it said they're transformed into beautiful scions, or some kind of fancy word that Ken Hall, the writer, came up with. And I was just thinking, you know, I had no idea. And I was like, you know, and I had a normal young man reaction. I was like, whoa. And I didn't know if I was going to even work under these conditions. And so that was really when I guess, sort of broke the ice with Linnea. I was like, oh, now I kind of know everything about you.
Yeah.
And she is so great and so funny and so smart that as soon as I wrote Assault of the Party Nerds, I immediately called her, because I wrote that part for her, you know?
Right.
And she really gets it. You know, she doesn't take herself too seriously, yet she's completely professional. I don't think I ever needed to do a take two with her. She just knows everything on time. And of course, you know, we did Virgin High together, and we did Party Nerds 2 together. And a couple of times there's been fan conventions where they tried to get the whole cast together of like Nightmare Sisters or like the whole thing. And I've never been able to, it never seemed to happen. So whoever is organizing those conventions, I'm totally up for it now. It would be really, they're all three of those girls are just the greatest, you know?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, like, I know there's a horror convention coming up, in the Horror Hound convention coming up in this March. That would have been great for you guys to come together and do that. That would be great. I don't know who organizes those to get a hold of you guys.
I was invited one by a gentleman a few years ago, and I agreed to come, and he wanted to reunite the Nightmare Sisters cast, and then I booked a movie and I couldn't come. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The punchline is they're all great, and Linnea is just the greatest to work with. Like, I mean, and I've gone on, you know, I've made a bunch of thrillers. I made a Western. I've made family films. I've worked with really amazing. I've worked with everybody from, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger for an environmental film I worked on to, I mean, some of Christopher Lloyd. I mean, big names. Yeah. And none of them have anything on Linnea Quigley. She's just a pro. She's the greatest.
She's great. She's one of my favorites, and I love her scenes in the movie. I mean, like Nightmare Sisters, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when you came in that day and saw them all like that.
I would like to have a reverse on me walking in, because I was really like, I'm watching now. I walked in, and because the first day was just like business. You know, move the camera, next setup, boom, 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 boom. Chin lower, chin higher, boom, boom, 20 pages on the first day. And that was shot on 35 millimeter film with short ends. So I don't know what that means, but short ends are not complete rolls of film.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like pieces of film I think Dave had saved from other jobs. Save money on film. And yeah, it was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I also, going back to Linnea and Nightmare Sisters, when I first met her, is that, you know, she had this band, I don't know what was it called, the Skirts. She was this punk band, and she sang this song, Santa Monica Boulevard Boys, and she sings it kind of like a lap dance to me. I'm like, I'm sitting there. And that was not acting. I looked shocked and nerdy, and I was going with it. I was very intimidated by all of her feminine wiles.
It's that would be a great first job. I mean, no doubt about that.
That was my third. That was my the commercial. That was like my fourth gig.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
And also I had done I did the beer commercial was shot at Dodger Stadium. It was like a multi-million-dollar beer commercial, and then I go to do an independent feature in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so this was my third gig. Commercial, independent feature, Nightmare Sisters. So I was kind of did this huge budget commercial where they're like literally like grilling ribeyes at lunch. And then I go to do this independent film on location for a month. Everyone was kind of, it was very artsy and everyone into the craft and all that sort of stuff. And then my next film, is Nightmare Sisters. And it opened up my eyes and it opened up a lot of opportunity for me.
I mean, hey, it helps you give us Assault of the Party Nerds and Virgin High, Hot Under the Collar, all that good stuff, right?
Exactly. And yeah. And again, it's just great that now it was the films were cool then, and what was really fun is there was only one HBO channel. So like when Hot Under the Collar was on HBO on a Friday night, that weekend, like that Sunday, if I went to the Formosa Cafe to have a drink, like people would recognize me and that I had that feeling of kind of being known, because there wasn't 5,700 channels and nothing on to add a couple to that Bruce Springsteen song, in case you know it. 57. Yeah. So so it was really a fun time to be doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, I don't know. There's just something special about that era of film, all of them, all together, from your guys' films to the everything. And we have another one here. A question that says, any chance of Blood Nasty getting a Blu-ray?
Well, here's the thing. It's a thorn in my side. So that film is just, it's everything it should be. And it's really a cool movie. I don't have a good master of it. Mm-hmm. It is now, and people have been stealing and streaming. Someone had put it up on YouTube illegally, and it had almost 1 million views. And of course, we get nothing from it, so I had it taken down. So I found the best master I have, and it's now. If it's not out now, it will be next month. It'll be available on a few streamers, and it'll be on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it. And you'll be able to see it. It's not great. I've been asked to release it on Blu-ray, even with that master. Yeah. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to, I don't want to. I mean, I guess the advantage is you'd have physical media and you'd own it. Yeah. And believe me, if you saw my shelf in LA, you'd know I'm a fan of physical media. But I don't know that it warrants it, other than maybe doing a commentary. However, I've recently got a phone number of who was the original foreign distributor 35 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he might have a master. And if he does have one I can access, I would do it. I would do it. It would be cool. And also I would love to, maybe upgrade what we eventually have up on streamers. But the movie's kind of been lost for all these years. Yeah. I'm concerned. I was partners on the movie with a gentleman named Robert Strauss, who we produced the film together and we co-directed the film. And I can't find him, and I haven't been able to find him for 10 years. And I hope he's still around, but that was my first instinct. Rob, he must have it, but nobody has a master. Anyway. So Blu-ray, this is the thing. You'll be able to legitimately stream it. If it's not out there now, it will be by next month. Mm-hmm. So you can watch it and dig it and comment and ask me any kind of questions about it in the world, because it was one of the greatest shoots of all time. And if I get a better master, we'll do a Blu-ray.
That'd be. I mean, I know. You have your druthers about releasing this one, the version you have on a Blu-ray and everything. But I do think there, if you ever consider doing it, I do think there is a want for it out there. I mean, there's people like me that will buy it, regardless, because there is something special about having it on a physical copy. But no, at least you're getting it out there for people to see. So
right, and I get it. If I don't have like with these movies, I have a bunch of like on these new releases, there's amazing stills galleries.
Mm-hmm.
They had all the original stills. And my son Raphael, who's now a 18-year-old amazing musician and filmmaker, like made the slide things for the release. Like I want to give people something that has value.
Right.
You know? So I don't think I have almost no stills from Blood Nasty. You know, it's like Linnea and I could do a commentary track, which would be a riot. Also, I'm reconnected and friends with Allison Barron, who plays my love interest in Blood Nasty, and we could do a fun commentary track. So we'll think about it. As you know, maybe if it wasn't, I don't know. I just don't feel like you know, I don't want to just take money. I
get you. I mean, that's why I appreciate.
Really, and the thing is, even on these releases, like that release you have, we don't hardly make much money because it just costs so much to do everything. And you know, we sell 2,000 units. You know, even though the math might look like a lot, with all the work that gets done, and the distributor and everyone's saying it's really just about delivering a good product for the fans and keeping things going because it's so much fun. And
yeah,
you know, I'm not digging ditches for a living. I mean, I'm grateful. So anything I can do to keep it going and to keep the fans, friends interested and happy, it's great. I'm really proud of this set. I think it's great.
I mean, it's great. I mean, it's like you said, it's like a love and a passion thing because like we as fans truly do appreciate this and the love that you guys put into it. All the special features. It's great seeing the B- movie award when you accept your speech. It was great.
We had those clips.
Yeah, and you won Ron this year. The still galleries, as you mentioned, the commentaries are great. So I love that you guys. I mean, even though, because yes, I love physical media and everything, but also as getting into the world of physical media and talking to people that do this, they don't make a huge amount of money on these. This is one of the reasons why physical media is more of a niche thing now than it was before. So, but like the fact that you guys are putting your efforts into these and like with the CD, that's why I was talking to my friend the other day. Like, I was so happy they included the CD on here with all the music to go along with it. Cause that's something that we often don't connect with is like the soundtracks of these movies back then were like very important parts of the movie. They helped, you know, with the like the structure of the movie and everything at times. So,
yeah, I mean, and you know, like I have a song, I don't know if it's in I think it is. I think Sparks from a Flame is on there. It's a song I recorded for Virgin High, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. It was a great recording, and it's a ballad. It's a love song that I really
don't know if you can see it, but it's right there, Sparks from a Flame.
Okay, good. Tracks. It should have been on there.
Yes.
And I used it on the end crawl of Virgin High. It had nothing to do with the story. It was just a great recording on a song I really loved. And then, you know, on YouTube, and it had never been released, right? I have a new version of it that's on my album, and everyone should go stream Richard Gabai and the Czechs' Double Life album because some of the Party Nerd songs, I re-recorded them more the way I wanted them to be done. The originals are great, and then a bunch of some other newer tracks. But the punchline is, like someone on YouTube did like a cover of one of those songs. Like they pulled it off the tail crawl of Sparks from a Flame. They pulled it off the tail crawl of the movie and made a cover version. So I was like, cool. A lot of people, you're right. I mean, pay attention to, and that's for me as an artist. I mean, the music and the acting, you know, the first thing was music and acting. And then I ended up being a writer, director, producer, and all these other things I've been blessed to do. But it all started with acting and with music. So I'm real excited about all this stuff. And I still have a band and we can still gig. It's just right opportunities in the right time. So you never know. Maybe there'll be a Party Nerd convention and we'll just rock the house.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd have to attend that. I'd have to definitely show up for that.
You have VIP. There won't be a backstage, so you'll have. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is fun. Which I also wanted to bring up, which is funny, is like you're friends with Robert Carradine, and you like Revenge of the Nerds and Salt of the Party Nerds. So how'd that all come about?
And Bobby and I have a triple secret project that we're working on together. That maybe you'll have me back on the show and I can talk about it. But I just literally spoke to the producer, and he said, "Don't talk about it." So Bobby is. It's an amazing thing because Bobby. I produced a movie for Fox called Supercross, a Supercross racing movie, and Bobby was in it, and he hates this story, so I won't. Well, Yeah. Anyway, I met him, and anyway, and but the good news is we hit it off, and then we were in touch, and then I made this movie, the 3D movie I mentioned, called The Wild 3D, which, by the way, if anyone who has kids and whatever, it's Christopher Lloyd and Veronica Cartwright, great family film that's streaming, on Tubi and everywhere for free, called The Wild. He came to, it was premiered at the Santa Barbara Film Festival, which is kind of a big deal. So, and it was in digital 3D, and I knew Bobby lived in Santa Barbara, and so we became reacquainted then. And he came to my premiere. And then when I made a Western like 6-7 years ago, I called him, and he was in that movie. And the irony is, obviously, Assault of the Party Nerds is a ripoff of Revenge of the Nerds, mixed with some Animal House. I mean, those were my two college influential comedies. I was like, Revenge of the Nerds and Animal House, put them in a blender, and if you have $40,000 in 5 days and a lot of luck, you get Assault of the Party Nerds. So the fact that, and now, Bobby plays in my band. He's the lead guitar player in my band, and he's at our house once a week for dinner. And he knows all my kids since they were born. He's an uncle to them, and we're best pals. So it's a really amazing thing that I started my career by ripping off his movie, and now we're best friends.
That's a great story right there. I mean, how often does that happen? That's a good story.
I don't know. I've been pretty fortunate because, I was just talking to somebody about that around Hollywood for so long, and I'm still very much below the radar, right? I mean, people the millions of people that have watched the thrillers and family films that I directed, nobody remembers the name of the director or sees, if you're not famous. And then, I've been in 100 movies, but it's a relatively small percentage of the viewing audience that knows who I am. Mm-hmm. But yet I've met so many of my heroes, and most of the time it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of the people you worked with, like you said, Robert Carradine, Christopher Lloyd, Dean Cain, Danica McKellar. I think you worked with Natalie Z, didn't you? I think.
Natalie starred in my movie Insight, which is one of my favorite things I've done. Also is now streaming and out there. So check out Insight. It's I'm a huge Hitchcock fan, and my cinematographer at the time, Scott Peck, brought me this amazing script, and the script was so good, we cast it. I mean, it's Natalie Z, Adam Baldwin, Sean Patrick Flannery, Christopher Lloyd. It's just an endless Veronica Cartwright. It's just, and it was great, and the movie came out great. And it's not bragging; I can prove it. Go stream it.
Go watch it. I mean, like you said, I don't think so many people realize, especially the people that like us. Well, I do because I know you and everything. But I don't think so many of us realize that the guy that made Assault of the Party Nerds is still making movies today and made a lot of great stuff. And we don't realize maybe we're watching something he made or seeing him, because it's not registering. So it's a weird thing.
Yeah, and it's a blessing because I've kind of seen it all in a sense, and I'm still here, and in my 20s I did my best to try to become an alcoholic by going out every night. It didn't happen. It just didn't catch on. So I've really lived a blessed life. I mean, I still am, and I'm still excited about what's coming next. I told you I have this kind of secret project with Bobby, which I actually called the producer right before we started this to ask if I should talk about it. No, you can't talk about it. No, so we'll come back on, but and I did. I'm in the remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, the Tom Savini one.
No, it's directed by Chris Ray, Fred Ray,
okay.
And it's fantastic. It stars Vivica Fox and myself, and actually, I ended up getting, they were looking for a name, and I was like, well, Bobby's Carrady's a buddy of mine. Bobby's in it too, and actually my son is in it. He ended up being in it too, and it's amazing. It should come out later this year. I really think that's a game changer for Chris, because he did an amazing job directing it, and for me. So I'm Harry. I'm the guy in the basement with the family.
Oh yeah.
It is so just great. It came out great. I can't wait for it to get released. I have a few acting gigs that are in the can, and there's always, thankfully there's always stuff coming.
Yeah.
think your career is over when the phone stops ringing, and thank God it hasn't stopped ringing, and I hope it never does.
Me neither, man. Because I think you're great. I think you're cool. Like I said, I think you got this coolness vibe about you that I just really dig. But maybe it's because you were born on Valentine's Day. So what's it like having a birthday on Valentine's Day? We have a question.
Well, it is. Well, look at that. That's a great. It is. I have to say this. It is the greatest birthday you could possibly have. It is. It's been great since day one. Since day one. So on my mom's Valentine, of course. I mean, aside from my dad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been freaking fantastic. So if you're with somebody, you're sort of off the hook because it's your birthday, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say it's got to be pretty great with the ladies, right?
It is great. Well, yes, I'm not gonna lie, it's great with the ladies. When I was single, there was 2 years where this happened, and on Valentine's Day, it's like my birthday, and like maybe I'd be going out with some friends or whatever if I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. This only happened in a meaningful way once, but I was at a bar, and again, I think it was the Formosa Cafe because that was around the corner from my house, like my apartment in Hollywood. So it was easy to stumble home, and I'm chatting up a couple of girls, and I think I was there with a buddy who was at the other end of the bar, and I kind of like did the like crying in my martini. I guess the expression is crying in your beer, but I'm not a beer drinker.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sulking in my martini. I'm just talking to them. And they're like, what? I said, well, it's my birthday and it's Valentine's Day and I'm alone. And they're like, bullshit. And I said, I looked at the one that I found more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I need a Valentine kiss. It's my birthday. Are you going to give me a kiss right now? And the other girl said, yeah. So I take out my driver's license, I flash it. And I was like, no, you don't have to kiss me. But then we ended up talking, and it was someone that, took maybe the best 2 weeks of my life. It was, but I did use it. It's the greatest. It is the greatest birthday. If you can time the birth of a child, you should go for Valentine's Day. Cause like I've heard that people that are born on Christmas, it bums them out because it's not special because it's Christmas.
Yeah.
My brother was born on Thanksgiving, although it's not on Thanksgiving every year because it kind of moves around. Yeah. I have to say, it is the greatest birthday. Better than New Year's, better than anything, right?
I'd be using it all the time. Every Valentine's Day.
It's great. It is great. And it's fun. It's super fun. It's a fun holiday. It's really fun. And I was usually not alone, but that year I was alone. I literally took out my driver's license.
Hey, that works, right?
I was in this MGM movie called After Midnight, which is a horror movie.
I know that movie.
And when it came out theatrically, and I did stupid things. That's funny what I did with my license. It came out theatrically, but it didn't come out in LA. Like, I think the studio got bought when the movie was in post-production, and the movie was produced by my good friend and my manager, Richard Arlick. We've known each other literally that long, like 35 years. Yeah. Anyway, so it was playing in Chicago, and a buddy of mine lived in Chicago. So I'm in a movie that's finally in theaters, and it meant so much more at that time than it would mean now with these sort of theatrical releases where it's in there for like one showing or 1 week, and it meant a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go visit my buddy in Chicago, and I'm going to go see my movie. So we went out for dinner and had a couple of drinks, and we're standing in line, and there's these 2 fairly cute girls in front of us going to see the movie. And my name wasn't on the poster because it was like a co-starring part. It was like Mark Hilgenberger and Gillian McWhorter and a few other, Mark McClure, I think, a few other people, and I was nobody. But I was in the movie. I was in the whole movie, right?
Right.
And I said to her, I was like, hey, I'm one of the stars of this movie. And I wasn't the star. So I was in the whole movie, but I wasn't. Like, yeah, right. And I said, well, I said, so what if we go into the theater, can we sit near you? And then if you see my name on screen, we can hold hands through the entire film. And it's like, sure. And it's, we were in Chicago. It was like butt cold. It was like freezing cold. We go in there. I showed her my driver's license. And I think I showed her then I showed her my SAG card, and she got kind of nervous. And then when my name came up on screen, I just kind of put my hand like this, and she went like that. It was good. It was very, very good.
Good times, man. Good times. Look at that. Smooth. You just smooth, man. I like that. That's what I said, man. You got this cool factor about you, like in how you with the nerds and everything, how you can get them to, open up.
Kind of you to say that, because a lot of my goal was to be more like an everyman. Like I wanted to be the guy that, well, like friends like you could identify with, Not,
Hmm.
I wasn't too cool,
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or even Fonzie. So it was always that goal. So thanks. And and also again, thanks, because you get so much hate. Like, people will write the rudest, meanest things. I mean, it rolls off now, but like in those early days, it's kind of like, well, come on, just trying to make a movie, trying to have some fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a
Lighten
good
up.
time. Yeah, lighten up. It's just a good time. It's just a fun movie.
Exactly.
No, but no, yeah, you did. I think you did. You like people like us, connect with your characters in these movies because you are sort of like you're like the everyman nerd, but you're not like a nerd. You know what I mean? You're like somebody that we want to be. So
We're all party nerds.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we're all party nerds.
It's a great.
It's all inclusive. All for
Yeah.
all for all for all for all.
Yes. I know you you can't talk about your secret thing you're working on, but do you have anything else coming up besides what you talked about that you can talk about that maybe you're interested in getting to or doing or want to do?
Well, I mentioned the stuff I have in the can. There's always something potentially happening, but I don't. I am kind of superstitious, and then I talk about it, and then it doesn't happen, and somebody asks me what happened with that, and the answer is I don't know. But I'll tell you something funny that actually goes back to party nerds. Let me hang on one second. Grab something over here.
All right.
So the guy in Party Nerds who plays Scott, Mark Silverberg, he was the original bass player and backup vocalist in the Checks, and he sings on all those songs. And we've been friends since fourth grade. And he innovated, and then I helped design this particular guitar pick. And they have you can see they have like a fin. It's called the Coopers. And we have them that have fins in different spots. So I'm a big fan. I'm a consultant, and on Cooper picks. So this has been really fun. And for all you guitar players out there, go to cooperpicks.com.
Yes.
And check these out, because the slogan is grab a Cooper and you won't let go, because they have this crazy grip and these little fins. It changes everything. And I've been playing guitar since I'm 15 years old, so 14. Right. So it's something I really believe in. It's really been fun because now Mark and I get to hang out at musical merch conventions and check out guitar shops wherever we go. And we're now we're in a bunch of stores, but the main thing is online. So this is something I'm working on and I'm doing, and it's really fun. And it's a great product. Again, like go back to the Blood Nasty Blu-ray. I kind of want to do it if it would be great, Right. These Cooper picks are great, and this one's the double fan that I showed you. It's this is the one that I personally designed for the way I hold my pick. But he actually have them with the little fin on top or just on a side. And 9 out of 10 people I share them with are like, okay, I only want to use these picks. Right. So definitely check out the Cooper picks. And creatively, I'm writing new songs, and I'm really enjoying. My son is writing songs that kind of blow my mind. He's 18 years old, and so we basically have an act now where it's just the two of us can just kind of go play anywhere, and we've sort of been testing it out. I'm an Elk. We played a couple of open. We actually did a couple of open mics at the Elks Club, and it was wild. It was hilarious. And they came out great. So I'm still working on. I'm still the singer songwriter. I'm still excited about whatever's going to come next, whether it's an acting gig or an opportunity to play music or direct again. I'm definitely going to direct again. But the difference now is, because I've been blessed. I made a few films for the Hallmark Channel. I made a bunch of other stuff. I kind of want to. I want to find something that really means something to me. I hope.
Right.
I'm looking for that next best thing. It's a Warren Zevon song.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. But I have some. I think I have an acting gig in next month, and I'll do that. And every time I get an acting gig, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about anything. I just sit around, eat red vines, know my lines, and have a lot of fun. I just did a movie for Tom Churchill called Three Killer Pigs, like Three Little Pigs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
With Brian Austin Green and Anson Williams, and it's Three Killer Pigs. It's like the Three Little Pigs, only they kill you.
Yeah.
A sheriff, and it was great. And I have a really great brutal death in it.
So nice.
And I don't know when Tom's going to release that, but he was great to work with, and I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about future projects with him. Anyway, I don't have anything signed, but it will be sealed and delivered when the time is right.
Nice. I like that. One more question before we close it out here is, what was it like working with Rhonda Shear on the second Assault of the Party Nerds? Because she's got a really great funny part in that.
Oh, Rhonda is just a powerhouse. I mean, she is a force of nature. She's incredible. She's one of the most intelligent, funny, all around amazing people I've had in my life. And, we've known each other for a very long time. And I first met her through Party Nerds and she invited me. I was on Up All Night a couple of times, and we put those clips on the DVDs also.
Yeah. Yes.
And she just, I almost had to stop down the camera a little bit so everything the camera wouldn't overexpose, because she's so dynamic.
Right.
She's so amazing. And I wrote that part for her, and we just were, it's strange because, again, I met her as someone that was, had this show that everyone watched, and that acquired my movies and gave me a living. And then over time, you really become friends. And it's interesting. Like when she wrote her autobiography, which is a great book. My wife and I went to where she did a book signing at a bookstore in the Grove by the farmer's market. And we saw each other, and then we went, and I had dinner with her and her husband a while ago. And it's a strange thing because I've had people tell me this as well, that, we see you as this persona and then we're friends.
Yeah.
It kind of it goes back and forth, right? When I see her, I'm like, oh, she's a TV star. She's a movie star. She's an entrepreneur. What a business she's running too, right? Yeah. And now she's opening this beautiful sound studio stage in the Tampa area. She's Sheer, I think it's Sheer Enterprise or Sheer Entertainment. And I'm working with her on, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. So I'm working with her on something. And since I didn't check with her, a triple top secret, really cool.
I may know a little something about that, but not too much.
Right. So, Greg, I don't know. Was I supposed to say anything?
I haven't heard much myself. So
top secret. I think there should be something really cool coming along. And she's the greatest. Yes. And and her and Michelle Bauer together, though, like in those scenes in Party Nerds too.
Yeah.
If you're not laughing, you don't like life. That's all.
I was laughing. It was her Southern accent and the way they're talking, and Linnea Quigley is just sitting there like, "You guys are dumb." it's great. You had the most beautiful women in these movies. It's incredible.
Well, it's the same price, I always tell people I'm very superficial. I mean, there you go. I can't help it. I'm very superficial, and because life is short, and we got to have fun, and I've had a lot of it, and I just hope it never ends, and I hope it never ends for anybody. Everyone should be. I wish everyone to be happy and healthy and laugh and smile and enjoy life.
Yeah, Brian here wants you guys to come to Scotland one day, the whole cast. So that'd be a cool trip to do one day for you guys.
Hey, I'm ready. Just get me invited, and I'm there.
Yeah, it's weird. You would think as much as I've done on YouTube, I would know people by now that knows how to set up Comic-Cons. I don't know anybody. I'm
very grateful. My friend Jim Burleson that runs, I think, one of the best cons, Albuquerque Comic-Con. He's invited me a few times, and he's flown the band out a couple of times, and we've had great shows there. But yeah, I would love to come out there to I'd love to go anywhere now. I'm at that stage where I really embrace and enjoy it. Because to be completely honest, for a while I was kind of running away from these movies. You know, it would be like, you know, the business was very judgmental and things very typecast. So, you know, oh, how could the guy who made Assault of the Party Nerds make a heartfelt, you know, romantic comedy or a female-driven thriller, you know, with strong, you know, female characters? I think all of my movies have strong female characters, to be honest with you. But I'm just saying, I was kind of hiding from it, and there was that thing where, like, you know, friends of mine that have been much more successful and still are, you know, kind of ribbing me like, oh, why, you know, we saw this movie you made on Showtime at 11 p.m. You know, why'd you make that movie? I was like, well, you watched it, and I need to eat. I need to eat. This is what I do for a living. I had a beautiful childhood, but by no means any kind of a like trust fund or privileged. You know, when I went to college, I had to get a job to pay for my books and my rent, and my dad, and parents paid the tuition. And then when I got out of college, it wasn't a question of if, like, I'm not on the. I had to make a living, and I've always needed to make a living. So it's just groovy. It's just, and life is amazing. Life is really amazing.
I mean, I get, you know, you wanted to run away from everything because, you know, like you said, people are judgmental. But if those people actually really watch these movies you made, because there's a heart to these movies. You could see how somebody like you who directed these movies could direct a romance movie or just like a normal comedy or a Western or something, because there's those characters within those movies. You know, you got the stoic guy who just wants to help his friends. You got the romantic love story at the heart between the man and the woman. You know, you got them helping the kids, you know, man up a little bit. And then you got the, you know, the jocks next door who I love that. By the way, I know you probably couldn't get away with that today, but like when they walk in on them.
Oh, I know. I know.
But I mean, like, that's actually
my executive producer on Party Nerds, and I really was an executive producer because he's kind of a mentor to help me through the project. You know, Dave Dakota's a very proud, openly gay man, and he loves Party Nerds.
Yeah.
He read the script. He thought it was hilarious. You know, he loved it. And I think the good news is I think you couldn't get away with it a year ago, and you probably couldn't get away with it today, and you probably wouldn't want to, because it's not as funny today as it was then, because we're more aware.
Exactly.
You know, we weren't, it was, those were the times we're starting to sort of figure it out, right? And I mean, my first concert was seeing Queen with Freddie Mercury, who remains my ultimate rock and roll hero. And like when I went to see Queen and saw Freddie Mercury, I didn't even know what a gay person was. I didn't even know what that even meant. So like the Party Nerds time, it was hysterical in the moment, and then it became kind of off limits. But I think we're allowed to laugh at it again now, you know? Yeah.
I think that's why I feel there is like a change in the air with entertainment and stuff coming along.
Yeah, it's enough already. You know, we're going to laugh. We're going to have fun.
Yeah. So Video Tasty says he salutes you for being in films with all those lovely topless ladies.
Okay, I'll take any salute I can. Not any salute I can get, but thank you.
Yeah, dude.
And you know, I did. I was in them, and not ashamed.
I wouldn't be.
I'm Richard Gabai, and I was in a lot of movies that people really love, and I'm grateful for that.
That's awesome. I mean, I was going to ask you one more question, but that's kind of a nice little endpoint to end it there. So cool. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you for your time and coming on here and talking with me about Assault of the Party Nerds, what you got going on, and everything. It was just fun conversation. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Greg. Be well. See you soon.
You too. You have a good one. Everybody out there watching in the chat, thank you guys for hanging with us. Remember, like, share, subscribe, share out the video, and you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.